So why you feel manipulated with certain celebrities or certain icons that you are supposed to look up to, you seem to gravitate back to them out of familiarity, but you feel like you are deceiving yourself every time you do, but you just can't quit. Well, these celebrities are selling the same type of seduction that a person is taught to sell in order to garner or gain a spouse, in order to up themselves in status, in order to survive. And they use generic methods and means in order to do this. So they learn their environment, right? Mapping, they learn their mapping. They learn the general shape or form or pattern that is expected to meet a certain grade. They look at behavior models. They are speaking a language, and then they go through the act of trying to qualify themselves through a value system, right? And this really is Machiavellianism 1.0, because these are just really basic, I'm going to say principles, because it works for them, so they continue to do it. But when you see them in interviews, they're nothing like this. They're selling a bill of goods. They're good at surviving, not because they are the so-called overman or ubermensch or the most superior in form and quality, but they are mimics. So this is another derivative or suggestion for how mimetics really is this echo chamber, a language pattern that is used in a nonverbal manner, even though there's a lot being said, sung, acted. All of that is to lay down a physical proof of work, if you will, right? And then a proof of stake is when they go about showing that they gave this, they went through this, like they have this health problem. And then you are emotionally bound to them because in your body, you're producing things, serotonin, oxytocin, you're death scrolling. You don't realize it, but as your body is transitioning late at night into this, melatonin-based sleep mechanism, you are doing an oxytocin type of bonding with the facial recognition of the celebrity, right? So you're emotionally invested with the celebrity without even any of the so-called fringe benefits of the physicality of what you actually need, right? So in other words, you're being sold a bill of goods, the cinema, and you could say the music industry is the same as cinema because you have music videos, you have everything that goes along with, like, you feel like you have this familiarity with these celebrities, but in fact, whether they are a singer or an athlete or however they are being sold, they have to meet this business model that appeals to every aspect of you. And when you break it down, these are all faux or quasi principles. They're anti-principles that you end up deceptively seeking because you realized early on, and were taught early on through this whole MK Ultra Mind F programming, that you weren't really looking for a pure status or state in, existentially in another person, and you were looking for this highest principle quality. You weren't really looking for somebody who would sacrifice for you and you would sacrifice for them. You weren't really looking for somebody who allowed you to express yourself. They expressed themselves through the hardship of work, and that there was true, oxytocin-based bonding going on there, right? Where there was this, for lack of a better term, spiritual other entity that burgeoned forth into a child of community. So we are a production factory where we are teaching our children anti-principles. We're teaching people to take on this so-called diamond demon type of trait where they are void, right? They are undeveloped people. They will never be developed, and they're completely devoid of, they're going about this Machiavellian expression of virtue on a very surface veneer without even having an inkling or understanding that they are sinning or signing against themselves in the main tenet or the main focus that they are utilizing anti-principles, right? So the first thing they're doing is they're impurifying their own personal status or state, and they will go about recruiting others, almost like a gang initiation, into this cult without even realizing it, right? And the main thing is you have to ask yourself, that old adage, by their fruits you shall know them. Well, what's the first thing that this personality or this persona or this person, including yourself, you really have to put yourself under the specter. What's the first thing they will sacrifice in any given situation, right? Just look at the morning when they get up, what they're doing, or something that's important to them, right? Typically, they're going to lay out demands. They're going to lay out imperative commands to you through a language model. They're going to blame other people for being late. They're going to yell at other people for not being on point when they realize that alchemically, from a glandular perspective, they live within the solution of something that they don't respect, that they aren't, and that they feel like they are, and their feelings are telling them from a sensory allostatic patterning that they are in fact, again, sinning or signing against themselves. Everything they do is juxtaposed and antithetical to the true nature or the ontology through this phenomenon and noumenon, right, echo chamber, that they are sinning or signing against themselves. Everything they do is disparate and separate from what they actually would do through their own nature.